humanity and our country. Let us all work together to do good, to serve others, and continue to strive to make this a better world. Amen. Pledge allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Oh, say can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the heavens light o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you. And if you are a guest and you've brought a guest, if you both will rise, Past President Richard Stanford is going to make sure that you're introduced properly.
Well, I don't see anybody except.
Okay, great. I'm very thrilled that we have Past District Governor John Moser and his lovely wife, Trudy Moser, here with us. If you'll wave, so that way everybody will know that that's you.
Welcome.
We're so glad that you're here.
I think that's
And we have Walt Markham, who is going through who's going through the membership process. We're so glad that that you're here. And we have and Kathy, if you'll stand and introduce your guest.
Here you go, Kathy.
Oh, am I introducing? Oh, right. This is Heather. Y'all have met Heather Piper, and she's been coming for several times now. So we're glad to have her back for sure.
And we're thrilled to have her in the membership process. Welcome, Heather.
Right.
Thank you, Kathy. Fantastic. Well, I am really excited to see you today. And politics aside, I don't know if you noticed, but the first ever cat is now a member of the White House. So we have the first cat. Can you believe after all this time, we just finally have the first cat? And so I'm very excited that we now have a first cat in the White House. Patsy Watson is going to introduce our PCR Marketplace Advertiser. Come up, Miss Patsy.
Our Marketplace Advertiser today is Mark Neace and his company SyncLab Media. More than 80% of all internet traffic is now video related. Organizations of all sizes and industries must adopt a video-centric marketing and content strategy to remain competitive. SyncLab Media creates video marketing strategies and content so that brands may increase awareness, engagement, and profits. Mark Neace has been a member of our club since 2014 and is a Paul Harris Fellow. He has served on the public image team since joining the club and initiated the recording and live streaming of our weekly meetings in 2016. Mark will be the first director of public image for our club beginning this next Rotary year in July. Mark also serves local scouting as a district commissioner. His wife of 21 years, Lori, is a retired ballerina and Pilates instructor. Max, his Eagle Scout son, will graduate this spring and begin a mechanical engineering degree program at Dallas College in the fall. SyncLab Media is on the forefront of video marketing strategies that includes their own TV channel on Binge Networks TV, BingeNetworks.tv, distributed to viewers on Roku, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, and smart TVs. Recognized as an expertise best digital marketing agencies in Dallas for 5 consecutive years, they also provide professional speakers on marketing, sales, and customer service. Please keep SyncLab Media top of mind when consulting referrals to your friends, colleagues, and clients who are decision makers at companies in need of leading-edge video marketing solutions. Let's thank Mark for advertising in our hub.
Thank you, Patsy and Mark. And now we have our Happy Bucks. So this is where you share what you're really happy about in whatever dollar denomination that you feel comfortable with, dollar bill, $5 bill, $100 bill, etc. I'm really happy about the Chiefs. Who saw that game on Sunday? And saw it twice. I love it. And Randy and John, y'all are over here. And anyway, so share your happy news, whatever you're really happy about.
I have to follow up again because it's worked the last 2 weeks. So I know a lot of people in this room are going to be cheering for LA because of Stafford. It's going to be a great game, but go 49ers.
Richard.
And it's a joy. I said last week that I was going to just stop watching football now, the Cowboys. Now they played 2 or 3 of the best NFL games that have ever been played, I understand, this last week. I'm repenting. I'm going back.
I'm glad you're going to tune in on Sunday, Richard. Thank you. Anyone else? John.
So we're late, but fortunately Randy is headed to Mexico as part of the President's Club with Willow Bend Mortgage, so no one's better helping veterans get homes in America here, so glad we can bring him out for lunch, celebrate before he goes get some great Mexican food.
Cool. Congratulations, Randy. Did you say Mexico? Oh, fantastic. Cool. And now, Pastor Governor John Moser has a fabulous presentation for us today. Please come on up, Pastor Governor John Moser.
You know, it's always a pleasure to come to this club. I really enjoy meeting with Park Cities Club. And today I have the great pleasure of presenting an award. The Rotary Citation Award recognizes the hard work that clubs do throughout the year. Taking action towards achieving the citation goals help clubs engage their members, stay relevant in the communities, and run more efficiently. A welcoming and engaging club also reflects the values of Rotary. When clubs achieve citation goals, they continue to the overall health and culture of Rotary for generations to come. In the 2021 Rotary year, 13 clubs of our 63, now it's 62 clubs, met the requirements for the citation. That's about 20% of them, so not many clubs did that. Of the 25 possible goals the club can choose, they have to meet at least 13 of those to receive the award. The goals include areas such as membership, conference attendance, foundation support, youth services, planning, and public image. So I am honored this year to present the Park Cities Club with the Rotary Citation for the year 2020-2021. There, Barb.
you. You all did it.
Do it again.
Congratulations, Barb. Very exciting. And now Pat Martin has a fabulous announcement for us on the 20 under 40 program.
Thanks, Happy, for giving me a few moments here. I don't know if you all know this, but the club is partnering with People Newspapers, and we have a 20 under 40 program. Every year we solicit nominations from our readership on individuals that are under 40 that are doing some amazing things in our communities, both professionally and in a service way. So serving on a nonprofit board, you know, excellence in volunteering, civic leadership, anything like that. So we just finished last week we closed our nominations, and then some members of the club, and I'm going to recognize them, I'm not sure if they're here today, helped us. So part of our partnership with the Rotary is that some members of the club will help us with the selection process. So reading through all the nominations and then going over those nominations as a committee, which was made up this year of 3 Rotarians from this club, myself and 2 other staff members, and then a past recipient of our 20 under 40 honor. And the members of this club that helped us, which I want to say thank you, is Siobhan Abraham, Eric Harrison, and Tyler Holcomb. And I know that Siobhan, I think they're all 3 fairly new, right? So it's really great to have their participation. And also I wanted to announce that we will host an event to honor these individuals. And Kyle, I hope I'm saying his name right, Mermillion was an honoree last year of our 20 under 40. And he is going to represent the club and say a few words about his relationship with Park Cities Rotary and how these individuals can become a part of it. And then the other piece of the partnership is that we plan to invite these individuals to one of the Friday lunches. So that's 20 different individuals that we'll be inviting to upcoming speakers and luncheons. And anyway, so the event is in March, the end of March, and then after that we'll start inviting those people. So anyway, it's exciting stuff and a lot of fun, so thank you for the partnership.
It's a great program. And now Devin Williams is going to give his new member speech. So there we have a red badge list, and so it's a list of activities that new members have to do to get their blue badge. And Devin is doing one of those tasks today. Come on up, Devin.
Hello, everybody. You can see I wore red today just in case anybody brought tomatoes to throw. My name is Devin Williams. I grew up in small town Nacogdoches. I wanted to start my speech today with one of my earliest memories of Rotary. I went with my dad to work at the 4th of July parade in our town, and I had the big job of being in charge of the chocolate fountain. We were working a little snack area, and that's a very big responsibility at my big age of 4, so it had a big impact on me. And at the time, I was just happy to work the chocolate fountain, but looking back now, it was one of my first brushes with the impact of being able to be part of the community. I grew up in Nacogdoches my whole life. I went to Central Heights from kindergarten all the way until I graduated high school. During my time there, one of my first experiences with being a leader was when I was captain of the swim team. With our school and our town being so small, there weren't exactly a lot of people with swim experience, so the responsibilities of being a coach kind of fell on me. And the rewarding experience that I had teaching others and pouring myself into others, helping them improve themselves, was very impactful for me. And once I graduated, I thought maybe I'd like to be a teacher. And so I went to Stephen F. Austin. I got a degree in English with a minor in education. And once I finished my student teaching experience, I realized that maybe public school was not exactly what I thought it was going to be. So I packed up, decided I needed a fresh start, and I moved here and got started at the Stewart organization, which I do copier sales and copier service, so if you know anybody. But once I got here, I knew that I still needed to be able to give back and to pour myself into others. And I just knew that Rotary was where I could do that. And I'm proud to be here, proud to contribute, and happy to follow in my father's footsteps and continue that here. So thank you all very much for having me.
Sure.
I want you to meet what copier salesmen look like as they It's a tough job.
Absolutely.
Especially good color hair, by the way.
Great job, Devin. And now Nolan Duck is going to give our membership minute. Come on up, Nolan.
Thank you, President Happy. And it is a pleasure to talk to you about how I got involved with Rotary. When I went to First Baptist Church in Cleburne, Texas in 1990, I was somehow shanghaied into going to the Rotary Club there. And I enjoyed the camaraderie, the people that were there. I thought it was great. So when I moved to First Baptist Church in Lufkin, Texas, then I joined the Rotary Club there. Then when I moved here, not at a church, but doing other things, Leroy Howard, who's a family friend, well, I met with him and he said, well, you're going to join Rotary. And I said, okay. And so he dragged me here and I joined. And you know, when I got here, I realized this is what a Rotary Club is supposed to be about. This is the best Rotary Club I've ever had anything to do with. And one of the things that I didn't even know about, and this is a shame, is I had never really heard the four-way test before I came here. Now, isn't that sad? But I hadn't. But that really solidified for me the reason why I'm so happy to be a part of this club and to be a part of Rotary. Because that is really a part of my core values, the four-way test. And I think that really brings people together, especially in this club. We have a deeper level of commitment to one another, an enjoyment of each other. The fellowship of Rotary is so strong and good, and I'm so grateful to God that I'm a part of this club. This club has enriched my life, and I cannot wait to get even more involved and give back further in the years to come as a part of this club. So, you know, if you're a guest and thinking about joining this a Rotary Club, this is the one to join. Thank you.
So the team sign-up email went out. We want to make sure that you're fully engaged. And so if you're thinking that, you know, I've got a little more time and I want to do something more for the club, you know, please sign up for some more teams. In particular, we really need some more help with Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, etc. We'd love for you to join the military appreciation team. There's lots of great teams, 25 plus teams for you to think about joining. And we're working on our February service project. We're going to have a virtual food drive with the North Texas Food Bank and several other clubs for February. So more details will be coming out in the next few days about that. So check your email. Next Friday, we're going to go to the DMA. I'm really excited. There's a fabulous Van Gogh exhibit there. We're going to go there at 4 p.m. Please sign up online so we can get you all registered. That's going to be a lot of fun. And then have you noticed my new hat? So you can purchase our RCPC merchandise, the RCPC tumbler that Barb got for us, the great new baseball cap that we're going to be wearing at the parade and all other club events, and you can wear it around town when you're going shopping, et cetera, and our fabulous Santa hat. So you can wear this at any event in November and December. The Santa hats are now in. Be sure to sign up for those online. Check the TV monitors for additional announcements. We'll be sending out more emails with some additional details. And now, without any further ado, I'd like to introduce Miss Leslie Clay. She is a longtime friend. She's a native-born Dallasite. So Leslie has been in the nonprofit arena since 2000. She's worked for the Crohn's and Colitis Foundation, the National Kidney Foundation, Literacy Instruction for Texas, and Hope Cottage. She joined the Warren Center in June 2019 as their Chief Development Officer. Leslie and I have been friends for a long time. We're both charter members of the Rotary Club of Dallas Uptown. She is a really dynamic speaker. She's an amazing baker. Ask her about her fabulous killer. Oh my goodness, her killer brownie. She makes the best brownies ever. So without any further ado. So she's very entertaining. She's a great speaker. And let's give a hearty welcome to Leslie Clay.
I wish I had a really good story about how I injured my knee, like it was a bar fight or rescuing puppies from a burning building, but yeah, I don't know. In December, I was literally walking out of my office to head to choir practice. I took about 5 steps, was not wearing high heels, was not running, didn't trip. Something popped in my knee and I couldn't take another step. And evidently I screamed because all the therapists came running, and luckily I work with, physical therapists, and they're like, ooh, we better ice you down. But the worst part was them having to wheel me out to the car in an office chair. So, yeah, that was and of course all the little kids are looking at me, and I'm like, yeah, Grandma. So, at least I'm off crutches, and we're trying to figure out what happened. So, thank y'all for having us. As Happy mentioned, we've known each other a long time, and people are sharing their Rotary memories. Here are my earliest memories. Is my dad never wanted much for supper on Thursday night because they always had a big lunch at Rotary on Thursdays, and we always had a foreign exchange student living with us, back in those days. Yeah, so we had I'm like, oh, those poor people, they got sent to Hobbs, New Mexico. But, for a lot of them, it was a really interesting place and, different topography. But yes, I was born in Dallas, grew up pretty much in the Permian Basin, so, oil business. But my dad was not in the oil business, but, that was the main industry in our little town. So, yeah, people go to Hobbs and go, ooh, that smells. And I go, that's money. That's what you're smelling, the natural gas and everything else. So, how many of I'm going to take a poll. How many of you have heard of the Warren Center? Okay, Randy has. And we are I guess we're 53 years old now. I started in 1968. We work with children ages birth up to the day before their 8th birthday with developmental differences and delays. So it can be everything from our neighbors brought their daughter when she was 4 because she stuttered, to we have children that we work with that don't have a definitive diagnosis. So let me see, maybe we'll go to the next slide. Here we go, next slide. All right. So a group of parents, like a lot of nonprofits, a group of parents founded us. There wasn't anything for children with developmental differences and delays in 1968. We actually started out as kind of like a little kindergarten. But then we started focusing on, when schools started working with children with special needs, we then at the Warren Center started to focus on the birth to age 3. And that is a program known as Early Childhood Intervention Programming. It is actually a program from the state, so we receive funding to provide therapies and assessments for children in that age group. But like a lot of governmental programs, it only covers about 42% of the cost. The government also, or the state says, okay, we're going to give you a stipend to work with X number of children this year, but you can't turn anyone away and you can't put them on a waiting list, which is okay. We don't want to do that. But we are serving almost 125 children right now over our contracted numbers. We're adding like about 10 new staff therapist positions. So if you know anybody who's looking for a job as a therapist, occupational therapist, physical therapist, feeding nutrition therapist, speech therapist, we're hiring. Tell them to get in touch with us. It is a wonderful issue to have, is that we have so many parents calling for services for their children. Go back. There we go. We renamed the Warren Center in 2007. We were called RDC, Richardson Developmental Center for Children. We had 2 or 3 different names from the time we started. And in 2010, we added what's called Family Education and Support, because our families were needing help with resources. They needed to know where to go when their child got older, or, what does the school district offer? The school districts all have programs for children with developmental differences and delays, and that's great. We want our families to access what's in the school, but sometimes they need more. They still come to us. Then in 2011, the Garland School District decided to no longer offer their early childhood intervention program, and the state called us and said, would y'all take it over? We went, yeah. And then in 2013, we started adding services for 3 to children up to the day before their 8th birthday. That's kind of long, so we just say up to age 8. But basically, our territory for early childhood intervention is assigned by the state, and we cover from downtown Dallas up to the George Bush, over to along 183 through Irving and Coppell, and over to like Wiley in the east. So there are, about 7 years ago, there were about 10 agencies that did what we do with early childhood intervention. There are now 3 of us, because you don't break even. Let's just be honest. We're a nonprofit. We're not in it to make a profit, but we are in it to break even. Hence why I have a job. We have to have donations too to help support this, and that's okay. That's what we want to do. So early childhood intervention, that's our territory. It includes the Park Cities, North Dallas, Garland, Carrollton, Farmers Branch, Coppell, etc. Then the children who are ages 3 to 8 can come to us from any place in the Metroplex. And so we draw from all those kinds of people. Okay. Then 2014, we added Northwest Dallas County with Carrollton and Coppell. So we have an office in Richardson's, our main office. We have an office in Carrollton, an office in Garland. Right now, there are only 3 providers of early childhood intervention programming in Dallas County, and we're the largest one of the 3. 48 zip codes. I'm sorry, I'm giving you a bad fact. We serve approximately 1,100 children a week now. We're like at 1,200 now. So when I made this a few months ago, we were at 1,100. Now we're at 1,200. The children birth to age 3, we do their therapies in their homes, daycare, grandma's house, wherever they are. And as our CEO says, the real therapy takes place between the therapy visits. We're working with the parents, showing them how to use what they have in their homes, incorporate in their daily activities the physical therapy, occupational therapy, speech therapy, feeding and nutrition therapy, whatever they need. And then the children ages 3 up to 8 come into one of our offices. So I like it. Seeing the kids, and we did kind of have to slow down in COVID, but interestingly enough, we closed on, I guess it was Friday, March 20th, I think, because my husband's office closed the 13th, and I was a week later. And so we closed on Friday afternoon, and by Monday morning, we were up and running and doing telehealth, teletherapy sessions for our families. And I am so proud of our therapists because, some of them had to learn we all kind of had to learn how to use Zoom, but some of them were like not even real computer literate at some point, but they adapted. One of the therapists said, it's made me a better therapist because usually I'm right there and I can, tell a parent, here, move your hand here and show them how to do it. She said, no, I'm having to instruct them over the camera. And so we just didn't miss a beat. Part of it is because we had a member of our program committee who about a year before had said, you know, I think y'all need to start looking at telehealth. And we're like, oh, I don't know. I think it's a wave of the future. Well, he didn't even know how right he'd be. So we will always continue to have telehealth sessions for therapy in our arsenal of our tools that we use for our kids, because somebody's sick in the home, therapists can't go in the home. Well, we can do it, by teletherapy. We found families that didn't have devices that could get, the Zoom meetings or the team meetings or whatever. And so a local church purchased a bunch of iPads for us, and we were able to share those with our families. So it was a learning curve, but I was very proud of our therapists that they just kind of kept the ball going. Okay, next slide. Here we go. I tell them that. All right, next one. And we get calls from all over the world. People are saying, "Hey, we live in China. What can you tell us about therapy?" Well, let's see if we can find something for you there. During the first 6 months of COVID, we provided over 12,000 instances of what we call help, referrals to services, et cetera. Half of those were from people who were not even our clients, but they knew that we were a nonprofit. They knew that we could help. We helped somebody. It was interesting how to get hold of a birth certificate when all the governmental offices are closed those first 6 weeks. We need diapers. Can you help us find a job? We need groceries. And so all of our therapists are also cross-trained as case managers to help people when they need that, and that's what we're there for. So these are the kinds of therapies we do: physical, occupational, speech, special skills training, which is learning how to play well with others and work in small groups, social work, case management, family education. We started this fall a new autism assessment program. People in our area, unless you can afford to pay $3,000 to $4,000 out of pocket to have your child assessed for autism, we're waiting up to 18 months just to get an appointment. Well, when you are 2 years old and you've got to wait 18 months, that is a long, long time. And studies have shown that the earlier you can start intervention services, the better. 90% of your brain functions and everything you need to work are formed by the time you're 5 years old. So we started this program, and we're booked solid with assessments. And honestly, most of them we do for free. We have sliding scales, so we get money from our contract from the state. Like I said, it covers about 42% of what it costs us to do money. That's only for the birth to 3-year-olds. We will bill people's insurance if they have insurance, and they will let us. Sometimes we'll have a sliding scale that maybe all you'll pay is $5 for however many hours of therapy you get in the month. And we have some children that are getting like 8 to 10 hours of therapy every week. But that's where the community comes in and helps us provide the support through their donations. So we are very excited about our autism assessment program. It's just a way to serve lower income families. Okay, so these are just some of our latest statistics. 3,168 children are how many that we served during our most recent fiscal year. That's from September 2020 to August 31st, 2021. So, we stay busy. We stay very busy. Next slide. 97% of the children we serve are under 5, 64% male, 36% female. I can't tell you why, other than boys have more developmental differences and delays than girls do. But there's no scientific reason. That's just the way it shakes out. So there you go, guys. 57% of the children that we serve come from extremely low income families. That's $26,000 a year for a family of 4. You start doing that math. And very low income family is less than $43,000 a year for a family of 4. So we are serving people that have the needs, and we will work with them and help them get them on Medicaid or CHIPS. We do a lot of that, help them find some insurance. Okay, what else we got up here? Okay, so I'll tell you about Connor. You can show his pictures next. Connor is probably about 6 years old now, doesn't really have a diagnosis. And darling child, he's nonverbal, and he doesn't talk. He will make some vocalizations. He had no, essentially, core body strength. I mean, he couldn't even at age 5 get up on his hands and knees and hold it for 3 or 4 seconds. So Connor came to us, and he received speech therapy and occupational therapy. But the picture there on the left, he is wearing what's called a TheraSuit. And up until just recently, we are one of the only organizations, one of 2 organizations in the area that has a TheraSuit. The other was at Cook Children's, but I think there's some other places now. But it's a little vest they wear with a series, it's got little bungee cords, and it can help, they can do exercises and help them to be able to sit up, to walk. I mean, you have to be able to sit up. You have to be able to hold up your head before you can sit up. You have to be able to sit up and roll over before you can get up on your hands and knees. You have to be on your hands and knees before you can walk, and you have to walk before you can run. So it's all related. But he started coming to us in February of 2020. Hello. And so we had to do some things, you know, with his family via telehealth. But then in June of 2020, we opened our offices back up for those children for whom teletherapy just wasn't working, or children like Connor who needed this. Well, about 2 or 3 months ago, I'm coming down my office and I hear this whee, this squealing. I'm like, what's going on now? Well, there was Connor able to scoot on his bottom down the hall. So he had gone basically at about, you know, a little over a year from not even being able to get up on his hands and knees that he can scoot on his bottom. Still doesn't talk like you and I talk. He will vocalize, and we're working with him with a kind of like a iPad program that he can, if he wants bubbles, he can punch the picture for bubbles and tell us what he wants type thing. But they told me this morning at an all-staff meeting, thank you, Rotary, for having me speak, because I could leave the middle of the all-day all-staff training. I'm like, I'm so sorry. This has been on my calendar for months. I can't disappoint Rotary. Yeah, I'm going to have to do my part at 9:30 this morning, okay? I think I'm missing the financial part of it. I'm like, oh, thank you. Anyway, they told me that Connor was able to climb up on the couch this week. So it's just, I love seeing this kid, and they usually bring him in a wagon, and he's always reared back, looking like the King of Sheba or something, you know. And I'm like, Connor, how are you doing? He kind of looks at me. But we love seeing Connor in our office. Okay, next slide. So where does our funding come from? I've talked about our contract with ECI. We have third-party billing, insurance, Medicaid, that's approximately 35%. The rest of it is, me. Okay. So our budget is a little over $8 million. What we call our donated revenue, they increased it because we have so many children, we're having to add staff, which is a great problem, except they're like, Leslie, please add another $500,000 to your budget. So I'm at about 1.8 is our donated revenue for this upcoming fiscal year. We don't get any state funding for our clinic therapy, which is our ages 3 to 8, or our family education and support, but that's okay. It's the way we serve the community. We have some wonderful donors. We have wonderful, very involved board members. And 90% of our funding goes to programming. So we go between 90 and 92% most of the time. So how you can help? You can donate. All gifts are welcome. TheWarrenCenter.org, donate. You can sponsorships. So like a lot of nonprofits, we have special events. We have a very unique special event. It's a fantasy football draft night. I call it the gift that keeps on giving, because when the gala's over, oh no, we still have 16 weeks of playing fantasy football. And it's a fun event, casual, about 400 to 500 people. We were very fortunate with that event. It was something that was very easy to pivot to virtual event in 2020 because you don't have to sit in a room to draft your fantasy football team. You know, we got everybody their stuff, and some people had their family in their home, whoever they're comfortable with. We had separate Zoom meetings. One person said, this is the most fun I've had in fantasy football in 20 years because I was in a Zoom room with my group and we could talk and you weren't, you know, in a large ballroom. But it's a great event, so we always have sponsorships for that, put together a table. Come invite us to speak like we've spoken here. You may have some other groups. We can do a lunch and learn at your office or for any kind of civic group that you're in. Follow us on social media, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. Ooh, and I just found out we've set up a TikTok account. I'm like, all I ever see on TikTok is people doing dancing. They're like, there's more to it than I said, well, that's all I ever see. So, but we have to look at the demographics of where our parents are coming from, and they're in their 20s and early 30s. So you can volunteer. We always need volunteers for fantasy football. We have an Operation Santa party. For a lot of our children, they don't get to go to regular parties. They can't go to a holiday party. They can't come to the mall and stand in line to see Santa because of their sensory issues. So we have an Operation Santa holiday party. In 2019, we had it in person. Over 800 people there, and 400 of them were children. You know, so you kind of have to watch where you walk because there's a bunch of short people there. But it's sensory friendly. If a kid's gonna if it's autistic, has a meltdown, nobody's gonna be going, ooh. They're like, yeah, I've been there, done that. Mine was worse. Let me tell you about it. And so our families love it because they feel welcome, they feel accepted. Every child who comes gets a toy, including the siblings. So yes, we have, look at probably about 400, 500 toys that we're always in need of. We have Spring in the Park, which is another just spring party for all our families. And this past year, we had it kind of as a drive-through event. We also had Operation Santa as a drive-through event in, let's see, I guess it was 2020. And 2021, the Highland Park Presbyterian Church was gracious enough to let us use their fellowship hall. And so we kind of assigned people times rather than having like all 800 people there at one time. We were able to social distance, so that was fun. But Spring in the Park, we have games and this thing called a bubble bus, which is like a short school bus, and it has all these little bubble machines, and they're blowing bubbles out. The kids love it. They can catch and pop the bubbles. We have little graduation ceremonies for children who have graduated or aged out of our ECI program with little caps and gowns, and they play nee, 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 nee. And the kids get a little certificate, graduation certificate. Some of those children, that may be the only graduation ceremony they ever have. And everybody comes. Grandma, aunties, grandpa, neighbors, everybody comes. It's fun. Family Mud Days. You want to do a snack and a juice box drive? We have snacks. We have children. We need snacks and juice boxes at the offices. Operation Santa Toy Drive, I've mentioned that. So to close it off, and I'll take questions too. To close it off, I want to tell you about the power of 1 hour. $25 gift helps supply 1 hour of therapy. And you think, well, what can 1 hour of therapy do? I'm going to tell you a little bit about Adam. Adam was 4 years old, wasn't speaking. They didn't know why. There was not a medical reason. Nobody knew why. His mother kind of had exhausted all of her, what she could think to do, and brought him to the Warren Center. So therapist met him at the door and took him back to one of the therapy rooms, and the mom was waiting for him. And so they had their hour of therapy, and they came out, and he had a little juice box, sucking on his juice box, and the therapist said, Adam, it sounds like you're out of juice, because he's going, juice box collapses, and he was sucking on it to get every last bit. She said, would you like another juice box? And his mother's sitting there going, well, why is she asking him? He's not going to answer. And Adam looked at her and kind of nodded his head. And she said, well, how do you ask somebody for something? And he stuck his little juice box under his arm. He took his little hands and did this. Sign language for more. That is the first time he had ever communicated with anybody other than just like grunting and pointing. His mother couldn't believe it. So, of course, we gave him another juice box. His mother started to cry. And the therapist said, now, Adam, what do you say to somebody when they give you something? And again, his mother's thinking, he's not going to say anything. And he took his little hand and he did this. Sign language for thank you. So in the space of an hour, that child learned 2 important ways to communicate with the world around him. I want more and thank you. Well, his mother was just, crying. And so he continued to come to us. His vocabulary increased. And she told us one day, she said, I thought the best day of my life is when my son was able to say more and thank you. She said, but it wasn't. The very best day of my life is when my son looked at me and said, I love you. So support from people like y'all, the community, $25 helps provide an hour, just an hour of therapy, what can be done for a child. So I thank you for letting me share our story. Does anybody have any questions?
I'll take a mic around.
Okay. Any questions?
Thank you, first of all, for being here today.
Thank y'all for having me.
Have you seen an increase in speech and language delays due to mask, or does it hit that population?
I'm not so sure about the mask, but I will tell you, in the past 6 months, we have seen so many more parents calling for our resources. And I was talking with the woman who oversees our clinic, and she was telling me that we have seen a lot more, or we've had a lot more calls recently of children age 3 who are not talking yet. And she said, really, by the time a child's 3, they ought to be speaking in paragraphs. And I said, well, do you think maybe, you know, everybody being locked down during COVID has anything to do with it? She goes, we don't know. We just know we're seeing a lot more parents calling for speech therapy or assessments. So I don't know about the mask. I don't know whether it's, you know, like my grandkids, they're really cute. Henry and Vivian, they're 4 and 2. Well, you know, Henry, basically up until when they started going back to church about 6 months ago, his only playmate was his sister, because they were locked down. So we don't know, but we are seeing an increase in, you know, 3-year-olds needing speech therapy. That's what they were telling me yesterday. Yes.
Have you thought about doing some kind of JV with some of the colleges around the area? You said you needed therapists, and a lot of those schools need places to
We
for their
have
students
interns. Sometimes we have so many interns we can't remember their names. And we do use interns because they have to do so many hours of field placement to get their degrees. We have to have a licensed therapist with them, or else be required by state. So we can't just turn them loose. But yes, we have a lot of interns coming through their programs.
We'll wait for 1 or 2 more questions if they come. But let me ask this. What do you do when they're 8 years old? Where do you tell the parents to go from that point?
The school districts have some programs, and then there are also other programs that we can send people to that work with the older populations. So, and we're constantly, there's lots of programs around. So that's what we do, is we get them ready. We have small groups, what's called the bridge class, to get kids ready, and usually more getting their parents ready for their children to go to school. So they have, like, you know, therapy rooms are set up like a little preschool classroom, and they have circle time, and they have art time. And the parents, again, we're just now able to start up our small groups because we had to shut down during COVID, the parents also have a meeting time during the small groups, you know, to get them ready. But most of the kids go into the school districts.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Leslie, thanks again for being here. Do you think your growth that you're seeing is due more to the fact that just people are moving to this area? There's more people coming here, or is it because we are better, maybe as a culture, in identifying these developmental problems at an early age?
Well, I tell you what we attribute it to is we have a crackerjack director of marketing. I bow to her greatness. And she has both corporate and nonprofit background work. Do y'all remember several years ago? I always love this story because every time I saw these billboards, I wanted to throw money at them, and I'm a fundraiser. But there was a series of billboards. I would see the one on Central for the North Texas Food Bank. It says, like, manager today, lost his job, hungry, or manager yesterday, lost his job today, hungry tomorrow. She did that campaign. So she really did some targeted marketing through social media to let parents know what services we offered. And so that's part of it. Also, part of it is, you know, during COVID, kids weren't going to the pediatricians, and we get a lot of referrals from doctor's offices. And a lot of physicians, pediatricians are the first one to know, this child's not on track. A lot of parents, especially if it's your first, I mean, you know, with my first, sometimes I think it's a miracle he lived. You just sometimes don't know. But I also think, you know, the awareness. there's so much being shared about, developmental milestones. And so we really revamped our website during COVID with all kinds of resources and videos, and we're continuing to add to that. So it's probably a lot of everything, but most of it is, for us anyway, is we had a targeted marketing campaign that was done to reach out to people. And so the therapists are like, stop, Azrael, please stop. We can't stop, please stop. So, yeah, a little bit. All right, thank you all very much. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Leslie. After the meeting, we'll get a picture in front of our public image screen.
Hide my cane.
Sure, we can just put it on the side. And thank you so much.
I appreciate it.
A book is being placed in your honor at McShan Elementary. We really appreciate you coming out today.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And y'all go to our website, the Warren Center. We've got some fabulous videos about clients that, if it doesn't make you want to open your wallet, I don't know what will. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much. Next week's meeting, we're going to have ERIN CHUPKA. She's the Vice President of Program Services at Girls Inc. It's going to be a lot of fun. Valerie Pellin is our program chair for the day next week. And John Powell is going to lead us in the four-way test.
The four-way test is an ethical guide for Rotarians to use their personal and professional relationships. This test has been translated into more than 100 languages. And Rotarians recited at club meetings, please recite with me. Of the things we think, say, or do, first, is it the truth? Second, is it fair to all concerned? Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned? Where's that little hat? There it is. All right. Fantastic. Thank you. Thanks, Adam.
Have a great weekend.